Hello, welcome to X Connections. I'm your host, James Lott Jr., and I like to connect you with people who are doing things that I think are very interesting. And this person, I'm calling him an activist and artist. He is both. And he has music coming out. Music has been out. He has videos for Please Don't Hate and Proud of Frames that's out now. We're going to know him, what he's doing, where he comes from, what he stands for. I'm excited to talk to him, Mr. Cameron Sean. Hi, Cameron.
Hey, James. How are you?
Good. Okay, so number one, I want to ask you, when I call you an activist artist, what are some things that you feel from that? Do you feel you are that, or do you feel like you're an artist who just kind of dabbles? But I feel like you're an activist and an artist.
I would say both. I mean, I guess for me, James, I never wanted to be known as the guy who's, always speaking about Asian issues, just because I'm Asian. I'd rather be known as that dope artist, you like me for my music, who happens to be Asian, who happens to stick up for what's right, regardless of what I am and what I look like. I am half Chinese, European, but and that's accurate, I would say. But I've had a lot of experiences in my lifetime so far, not even just like Asian situations, but like just around me that I've seen that have really kind of shaped my perspective. And I think most of all at the moment, a lot of us kind of just need love right now. This is a rough everything going on. So I'd like to stick up for obviously Asian Americans, but just anyone, man.
But Cameron, I'm gonna ask you this question as a fellow person of color, who's an artist. Is that a part of our burden? Is that we don't want to be like, I don't want to be the voice of Asian America, and I don't want to be the voice of Black America, but kind of in some ways, it's like that's always our balance. I just want to be the Black person. I want to be a person who happens to be Black, not the Black person. But is that what we have to go through all the time?
I just wish it was more, I don't want to say common, more common. I guess what makes it different for both of us is like our intrigue in the arts and what we do. So a lot of people, the reason why it's important, I guess, for both of us more than anything is we have a platform. People will actually listen to it.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of these voices don't get heard regardless. So for me, it's like I always promise myself that I always be true in my music. Everything I rap about is true. I got a couple certain rules. Everything I rap about is true. I got a couple other ones I'm not going to say on the podcast, but but you know what I'm saying? Like I have a lot of respect for the culture, but at the same time, I always promise myself if I ever had a platform of any sort, I would just do the right thing.
Well, rap started. It was about social issues.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I mean, it started talking about, especially because rap started in New York, folks. Basically, it started in New York, and they were rapping about what was going on in New York City, in the Bronx.
Struggle music.
Thank you. Yes.
It
is. And it's storytelling, which goes back to our culture's pre-rap. The folks tell stories. You hand down stories of what had happened, that kind of stuff. We tell the stories, right? That's what we do, right?
Yep.
And so were you drawn to rap always, or were you drawn to something else and fell into rap?
Always hip hop.
Yeah.
And I think what I appreciate about the hip hop culture, I mean, obviously I wasn't always good at it or decent at it or whatever, right? You got to start kind of trash at some spectrum when you start anything, which is a learning point. But it's helped me so much. It's helped me in my personal life. I've had so much fun with it. I've done it for years, the writing aspect, just for the love of the actual making the music in itself. But hip hop, the reason I love it more than anything is, at least, when I was learning how to do it and how to improve, it was like, people respected you for what you could do lyrically, what you said, your impactful words. No disrespect to the rappers today, but it's just a different sound, which I like too. And I make vibes like that as well. I'm not against it. But if you ask me to rap a song like the current day artist, that is less lyrical, it would be tough for me. I'm not saying I'm Nas. I'm not saying I'm Eminem, but I feel like I got some important things to say. So I like the ability to use it to, A, it's cheaper than therapy, it's just helped me through a lot of personal things, but B, it's really fun to do.
Yeah, we love dogs.
Yeah, I got two dogs.
I love dogs. But here's the thing though. The last couple of years, especially with the Asian hate towards Asians, we know about that in our cultures also, but the rise of it has happened over the last 3 years. We'll say it's happened.
Dramatically.
Has that really shaped and formed what you're writing.
Yeah, because I'm kind of pissed off. It's like I got my grandmother lives in Spanish Harlem, speaks zero English.
Yes, I know.
She's 4'10", like they've lived in the hood their whole life. My mom is from the hood, like Jersey City before was nice, only Asian family type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like slept in a tenement, no running water.
I'm also from Spanish Harlem too.
You already know. You already know.
I do.
So it's like when I think of my grandparents getting food or coming to visit us, like now they're pushing like old women in front of trains and like throwing acid in the faces of people, like regardless if they're Asian or not, like it's just it's wrong, But I think of my family, it's scary, and yeah, it has fueled what I write it just because I got a lot more emotion, a lot more things to say.
Yeah, no, that's my this from 101st in Lexington. I know that we know Spanish Harlem. I know it very well. And that's because it's funny because I know the things that I want to talk about is other than that too. But like you said, with the platform, it kind of did, we had a George Floyd stuff happen. That got me very heavily for a while. That's what I'm thinking about. But we know there's other sides to you. And I want to ask you this. Here's a question I don't know if you've ever been asked this before. Do you remember the first rhyme you wrote?
Wow.
Outside of ways they're asking for, like, I think like we know there's all kinds of sides to it. I mean, you weren't always militant out the gate, I'm sure, but what do you remember your first rhyme? Was it about a girl? Was it about a sandwich?
It was probably about a girl. I used to be in my feelings a lot, but I couldn't answer it because, to be honest with you, I thought all my stuff was trash, especially early. Eventually I got some confidence, but nothing significant enough for me to be like, wow, this is the next hit. I just honestly like to write music because I felt like, the truth is I hurt my back when I was young. When I was in 8th grade, I hurt my back playing basketball. I love basketball, right? As time kind of went on, I had some family situations with my mother's health, and music kind of really saved me, from going into a dark place. And it just helped me through a lot of stuff. I would say to remember the first good rhyme, I couldn't tell you,
Funny. But do you remember a time when you released something and you're like, I could do this?
Early on, I've had not a song, but like I was like always thrown into like these rap battles and
ciphers. That's what I get.
A couple ciphers, man. So one of them, this is crazy. Like, listen, I know you don't know me, but I'm not from the streets. I don't pretend to be like I'm any affiliation because I don't, right? I have like people around me that are, and people that protect me and whatever, right? But as a kid, I just loved hip hop. And one of my friends, long story short about this guy, he's one of my best friends today, but he kind of switched the leaf, but like he was involved in, not great stuff. And he kind of turned his life around and became a stud. But during that time frame, when I met him in high school, he brought me, to the projects, in Westchester where I was at that spot. I'm not going to say where, but I was rapping in front of like gang members, like legitimate, like big people, like, that. But the reason I loved the atmosphere itself was because at the end of it, when I was done rapping, this wasn't a battle. This is just a cypher, freestyle. But they respected me. They were nice. They were cool. They were great. They were good people to me, So that was one occasion. And then I've had a couple battles in school or on the bus where like it's either an older kid picking on me or whatever, but like where I've kind of like really embarrassed them in front of a lot of people, Yeah. So I was like, damn, like I'm kind of got some heat, like don't mess with me, I might say something crazy, that makes somebody angry.
I love it. So to my knowledge, I mean, I'm way older than you are, but to my knowledge, before Black Eyed Peas came out, because some members of Black Eyed Peas are Asian.
Yeah, they're
Asian. So, but before them, I think I've only known of one. There was one rapper named Jin, I believe it was, and that was it. So I was wondering for you, did you know about him? Did you know about me?
Yes. Yeah, he's a famous battle rapper, and he was on like 106 in Park. He was crazy in those freestyle Fridays, Jen. But also China Mac would be another one of the similar era. Yeah. Both that's a street rap, and it's great stuff. I love a lot of street rappers. I can't really relate to a lot of it, but like I love it. And the technical skill, beautiful, But I have heard of Jin. I've listened to Jin. I've listened to China Mac. A lot of the YouTube guys actually is what I grew up off of in terms of like Asian artists. But like there's a guy named he goes by Russell now, but Deep Pride, Dumbfounded, Lil Crazed, all those YouTube rappers. Wax is not, I don't think he's Asian, but Wax, Prince EA, a lot of dope YouTube guys like 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Is that funny? So YouTube really, so for your generation, YouTube is something that really influenced you guys. I'm hearing more and more that it does it. You guys really did go to YouTube for your entertainment, didn't you?
Yeah, I still do. Yeah, honestly.
Are there still people out there doing like good stuff out there? I mean, I think YouTube is so vast and big, but you're finding it.
Yeah, you just have to know what to look for. I mean, I listen to all my favorite artists because all my favorite artists, regardless if they're mainstream or not, you know, are dropping music all the time. So, but I always just enjoy YouTube personally. There's so many variety.
Well, I saw people even on Spotify, like that, when they'll say like, if you like this person, then that's what else.
The recommendation.
Sometimes I'll check it out. You never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
The algorithm thinks they know you, you know?
They think. Sometimes they're wrong.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're right. And I'm all about indie artists anyway. I'm all about supporting, because these big corporations swallow people up and do all these horrible things. I've seen enough behind the musics and unsungs and all of this. I've seen enough of those. That I'm liking that. Yeah, you're out at a good time. You're really out at a good time where you can release your music, you can promote your music, go on stage and do stuff without the constraints of
it's crazy, man. It's crazy because back in the day it was like you needed to actually sell records. You needed a real following. You needed, you know, to go to every dorm and whatever and pass out your mixtape and wait outside. It was, you know, now it's at a touch of a button, literally. But I think what makes it harder for the new school artists is to find genuine artists you like. But James, you already know, like everybody and their mom thinks they can rap or make good music in general. I'm not a hater, but I'm just being honest. It's not for everybody. Music in general, you know, I'm not going to dissuade someone from doing what they love. I'll never put somebody down, but it clouds the media for, you know, artists that you genuinely want to find, because every single day there's like 60,000 new songs dropped on Spotify. What are the chances they see you, even if you're dope? So it's depressing today, you know, you got to market everything and try to figure that out. It's like you're competing with millions of people that want the same thing as badly as you do, if not more.
So how do you continue this business?
For me, honestly, just stay myself. I got to have it where people just like me for who I am as a person, but the music itself, I want my music to impact people's lives genuinely, motivate them, you know, whether they can relate if I'm talking about a significant other in a song, you know, whether they've had tough times and they've came out of something. I just want to be an example that you can be whatever you want in this lifetime. You know, just because you're older, just because you have a child, just because you're going through financial struggles, you know, you can still find a way to be whatever you want. You don't have to live a mundane 9 to 5, hating your boss. Like, you know, there's hope. You can do it. But what it comes down to are those sacrifices that most people are not willing to make. You know, are you willing to, you know, after your long job or working a 2-a-day, put in another 5 hours for your real dream? You know, it's like a lot of people, and I get it. Like I used to be exhausted until I met my new managers. Like I was quitting. I've quit so many times and come back and quit so many things. It's like you put all this money in that you don't have into music, right? Nobody listens to it. Your friends don't share it. You think it's the dopest stuff in the world. But what it comes back to, honestly, is, you know, instead of getting depressed, it was like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to make music because I want to make music. And whatever happens out of it happens. I told my family, if I can pay my bills one day completely off of music, I've made it. Everything else is extra. Money, fame, whatever, right? I just want everybody around me to be financially free, where we can do whatever we want, you know, because we earned it or because I provide it. That's what I want to be.
Cameron, you were speaking my language. I do this full time and I make money off it. I mean, that was my goal. That literally was that was my goal. I'm in media. That's what I do full time now. I don't have any side jobs. I work in an office. I'm not a waiter. You know, I've done all those things. I did all those things. But you have the right attitude. And I think people who are listening to this and watching this, you should follow his example, because that's literally what that is. It's because when you I chuckle when you say your friends don't share. It's really simple that way. I have a lot of people in my life who know that I do stuff. They don't pay attention half the time. And again, a retweet takes 2 seconds. They don't retweet it. Like,
some of my biggest haters are family members. You know what I mean? Honestly, yes, like genuinely, like not in a joking way, like don't want you to succeed type stuff. You know?
Exactly.
Like, I never understood it, but I just, like I said, I want to, and you're an example of it as well. All like right now, you just because things are tough and just because things don't look like it's ever going to come a certain way doesn't mean it won't. And it's all cliche, right? But if you put that work in and you align yourself and frankly just have discipline, I don't want to do half the stuff I do ever. Sometimes I don't, not even in terms of music. Like now it's different. Now I'm making music and I'm getting ridiculed everything I say. It's not like you're doing it for a hobby. It's, hey, I want to take care of my mom. I want to take care of
Yes.
my dad. Now the pressure is different. Now things are like not as, it's business now, which is cool. But, when you're working another job at the same time per se, right? Or you got a Cameron Jr. on the way,
Right.
it's like, of course it's difficult, but you can still do it, man.
You can still do it. Now, Bob, I do want to mention your Please Don't Hate project because the song has become a project. Talk about that, please.
Yeah, so that was a song shot in New York City with Chen Chen Lu. She's an awesome, huge jazz artist. And then Richie Goods, he also mixed and mastered it for me and did some production work. Grammy Award-winning bass player, really nice guy. They're such sweet people, but they came down to New York City with me, my managers, my family was there, my friends. But we did a music video for it. And it's a video essentially shedding light on the crimes in New York City that happened around the Corona time to Asian Americans. I mean, dude, these hate crimes have raised like over 300%. Nobody talks about it. It's not even because it's Asian people. If this was anybody, I'd be saying something, right?
Right.
But 300%, it's like, if I have the ability to make music, I'm going to say something. Whether they listen or they don't listen is, it's up to them. But for me, I have to, So we went to New York City, shot an awesome video. We were in Chinatown, and it was a really lot of fun. And I was blessed to work with really talented, but genuinely good people.
Yeah, I like that. And sorry, Los Angeles, to me, the best Chinese foods in Chinatown, New York.
Oh, fact.
I'm sorry. I mean, and my godmother was Chinese here in Los Angeles, and I love her. I grew up with Chinese godparents. Trust me, I'm just like, but in New York, the Chinese food tastes different. It tastes better. Sorry.
Yeah. The New York Chinese food's got a little attitude,
It does a little,
a little zing.
It does. I miss it sometimes. I'm like, late at night after the club, I'm like, I miss some Chinese from New York. I miss it. I do miss that. I love that. That's very good. So we mentioned about haters and stuff because now we are on these social media platforms. Yeah. I get it sometimes. I stand up for something. You get these things. How do you just kind of stay grounded in the midst of all of this, just kind of everything that's going on, and that anybody can comment on you, and anybody can say what they want? How does Cameron stay grounded?
So one of my favorite artists today, Russ, right? Independent, shaking the music industry himself, mixes, masters, records, produces everything himself, multiple platinum songs. I mean, the talent level is unfair, right? Yeah. But he said it best, in today's generation, it's cool to be a hater. It's cool to put somebody down. But it's like, for what? The way I handle it, honestly, I think about it this way. Like, LeBron's got haters. Michael Jordan has haters. Russ has haters. Cameron Sean has haters. Like, if you don't have any haters, you're not doing, it's worse if you don't have any, right? Because then you're clearly not doing anything worth to even hate, but I pay no mind. Not everyone's going to like me or support me. That's cool, but the ones that do, like, I love them.
What's coming up for you? Do you have anything you can announce yet? Or are you working on some stuff?
Certain things I could say. I got a bunch of songs in the chamber, like at least 15 songs in the chamber that we're figuring out, at least, right? I have a lot of music, but right now I've been going to a lot of red carpet events I've been invited to. Shout out to Jade. They're amazing. Yes. But they've really helped me with that department as well.
Are you working on do you want to put out an album, an EP, just singles? What are you thinking?
I would say right now singles. I could put together an album for sure.
15 songs, you totally put together an album.
No, but right now just singles, and just want to be calculated, make some moves. I'm working on some shows coming up, some weddings, some college stuff. So I just need to stay active.
How would you describe the artist that is Cameron Sean? How would you describe?
In terms of music, I would say my music has an old school lyrical vibe to it. You could tell I appreciate real lyrics, we'll say, or older school lyrics, but new school melodies. I sing a bit, so a little bit of that new school vibe with just a little bit more old school lyricism.
And then who is Cameron Sean, the artist, a little bit above, a little bit of beside the music?
Oh man, just I think a fun guy, man. Fun, you know. I think I'm hysterical. You know, I think I say some
of
funny
course,
stuff.
sure.
I probably say some questionable stuff. I'm a weird person. You know what I mean? You know, they should make me do that ink blot test. You know what I mean? But what artist is not a little bit crazy?
That's
you know?
right. Exactly.
But I would say overall a good person, you know?
Yeah. And that's what the post. I want to thank you for all that you are doing out there. And I know that there's a line for any of us BIPOC people out there who are trying to just make art, but at the same time, sometimes you have to say something. So I feel like sometimes that's just part of what we do. And so I just wish for you that you gotta be able to have that line where you are known as an artist who happens to be Asian, but also a strong Asian artist. I want you to be
Yeah, and it's a catch-22 because without that, then like I wouldn't be able to say anything. I mean, you could, but the impact would be different, right?
Yeah. So I like that.
So
Thank you, Karen, for being on the show. I have a new fan. We're going to follow you as your career continues. You have to come back as things happen.
Thank you so much.
Something to drop. You should come back. We'll talk about it. Go to my fan.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you for your time. Tell folks where they can find you and your music.
Yep. So @ Cameron Sean Music. It's Cameron CAMERON and then Sean SEAN Music. Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. You know, but I really think they'll like my stuff, and ultimately I want to make music for them to get through what they need to get through. You know.
Yes. Yeah. The world's a little
Tough right
crazy
now.
these days. So go listen to him. I'll put all the links in the down below, of course. Thank you, Karen, for being on the show. I think
Thanks for having me, James.
Everybody, thanks for watching the show and or listening to it, because we have our podcast listeners. We're on Spotify, Apple, Google, everywhere. YouTube is JLJ Media. And support art. Support the arts, whether it's music, whether it's writing, producing, dancing, anything, just painting, just the arts are very important to our culture and very important today. Out of tough times, some good art comes out of that. So remember that. Thank you.
I agree.